In a world constantly battering us with uncertainty and change, how do we stand firm like a mountain amidst the storm? Within these pages, you will embark on a transformative journey to uncover the profound strength that lies hidden within you. This book serves as your guide through the shadows of doubt and despair, teaching you to cultivate an unyielding foundation of emotional resilience. Prepare to navigate the depths of your own psyche, emerging with the clarity and peace you have long sought. Solid as stone, develop emotional resilience and inner peace, written and published by Silent Validity. Lesson 1. Strengthen your core. Build inner stability. The foundation of a resilient life begins within. Yet countless individuals wander through days overshadowed by an insatiable need for external validation. This yearning can imprison the soul, feeding a cycle of dependency that erodes our inner stability. We often find ourselves seeking approval from others, striving to fit into molds that society has carved out for us. However, the truth is as stark as it is liberating. Genuine self-worth blossoms from within, not from the fleeting praises of the world. Psychologically, the quest for validation stems from a deep-seated fear of not being enough. This fear often emerges in our formative years, shaped by interactions with peers, family, and societal expectations. When a child receives praise primarily for achievements rather than intrinsic qualities, they internalize the message that their value is contingent on external metrics. This belief persists into adulthood, manifesting in scenarios where individuals tirelessly seek approval, fluctuating between euphoria and despair based on the reactions of those around them. Recognizing this behavioral pattern is the first step toward breaking free from the chains of external validation. Consider the story of Sarah, a talented artist whose worth seems tethered to the accolades she receives. Throughout her career, Sarah has produced a wealth of stunning pieces, yet she can hardly find joy in her creations. Instead, she fixates on the applause of critics and galleries, each piece of feedback dictating her self-esteem. When she receives a glowing review, elation washes over her, but a single harsh critique sends her spiraling into self-doubt. Sarah's emotional state becomes a battleground fought on the front lines of external opinions, undermining her core stability. Her journey reflects the plight of many, wrestling with self-worth while entrusting it to the ephemeral whims of others. In workplaces, the need for validation can manifest in similar, often detrimental ways. Take David, who finds himself caught in a web of comparison. He constantly compares his productivity to that of his colleagues, only to feel inadequate and overwhelmed. Despite receiving consistent praise from management, he struggles to internalize his achievements, believing they are merely serendipitous outcomes rather than reflections of his capabilities. His reliance on others to affirm his competence erodes his confidence, making it nearly impossible to trust his own abilities. David's experience underscores the pervasive nature of this psychological trap. It thrives on self-doubt and breeds instability. As we delve deeper into this lesson, our goal is not just to recognize these patterns, but to begin cultivating a robust inner core. Building inner stability involves dismantling the constructs that tie our self-worth to external validation and replacing them with a sense of intrinsic value. The process is neither quick nor easy, yet it is profoundly rewarding. When we begin to tether our self-worth to our own beliefs and values, we create an emotional fortress impervious to the opinions of others. This is the essence of strengthening your core, nurturing a relationship with yourself that is unwavering, empowering, and profoundly peaceful. As you continue this journey, reflect on moments when you sought validation from others. Consider how those experiences shaped your sense of self. With each realization, you are moving closer to uncovering the profound truth that your worth is innate, unshakable, and wholly yours. Only when you embrace this understanding can you commence the enriching work of fortifying your inner stability. To dismantle the behaviors tied to the incessant quest for validation, one must first develop a keen awareness of these patterns. The first step is to recognize when you are seeking approval from external sources. Often, this can manifest as feelings of anxiety or insecurity whenever you anticipate judgment from others. Keeping a journal can be a practical tool in this regard. For at least a week, jot down moments where you felt your self-worth hinged on someone else's opinion. Review those entries to identify consistent triggers, whether they arise in social settings, professional environments, or even within personal relationships. This observational practice can illuminate the frequency and intensity of these validation-seeking behaviors. Mindset shifts are fundamental in this journey toward inner stability. Challenge the notion that your value is defined by others. Understand that each individual has unique strengths and qualities that make them inherently valuable. Studies in psychology suggest that fostering a growth mindset can be transformative. This perspective encourages you to embrace failures and setbacks as opportunities for growth, rather than as reflections of inadequacy. For instance, when faced with criticism, rather than spiraling into self-doubt, reframe it as an opportunity to learn and adapt. Embrace the idea that your abilities are not fixed, but can evolve and improve over time, reinforcing your inner stability. Real-world challenges can also propel your journey towards self-empowerment. Start by setting small, manageable goals that promote self-validation. For instance, commit to engaging in an activity that excites you, whether that's taking up a new hobby, initiating a creative project, or speaking your mind in a discussion. Focus solely on your enjoyment and satisfaction, rather than on how others perceive your efforts. This exercise helps dilute the fear surrounding external judgment and reinforces the concept that fulfillment comes from within. Consider the case study of Mark, who struggled with feelings of unworthiness in his creative pursuits, often looking for reassurance from peers. When he began practicing self-compassion by acknowledging his thoughts without judgment, he started to reclaim his creative joy. By allowing himself to create for the sake of creation rather than for accolades, Mark's artistic expression flourished. His transition embodies the essence of what it means to strengthen your core, asserting that your self-worth exists independently from external praise. The psychological foundation for this work is rooted in research surrounding self-determination theory, which emphasizes the importance of intrinsic motivation for well-being. By developing an inner locus of control, believing that you are the architect of your happiness, you begin to insulate yourself from the emotional turmoil tied to external validation. As we conclude this first lesson on building inner stability, recognize that nurturing your self-worth is a vibrant journey, one that entails continuous reflection and growth. Next, we will delve into understanding your emotions as allies, exploring how to harness them to create a flow of energy that supports resilience rather than hinders it. Be prepared to embrace your emotional landscape. Before you continue, take a moment to internalize what you've learned today. Reflect on your journey toward self-validation and consider sharing your thoughts in the comments or with someone close to you. Your journey is unique, and by sharing it, you bring others along with you. Lesson 2. Emotions as allies. Mastering emotional flow. In a world that often feels chaotic and overwhelming, emotions can seem like unwieldy forces, threatening to derail our sense of stability. But what if we viewed them instead as powerful allies, capable of guiding us toward greater self-awareness and resilience? This shift in perspective is not only transformative, it is essential for fostering emotional mastery that empowers us rather than ensnares us. To embrace emotions as allies, we first need to confront the deep-seated psychological and emotional reasons behind our initial resistance to them. Recognizing that we have often been conditioned to view emotions as weaknesses leads many to dismiss or suppress these feelings. From a young age, societal norms frequently dictate that emotions like sadness, anger, or fear should be avoided or contained. This repression creates a cycle where we internalize the belief that exhibiting emotions is a sign of vulnerability, forcing us to seek validation from external sources instead. The psychological toll of this conditioning is profound. It disarms our ability to connect with our emotions authentically, leading to a dissonance between our inner experiences and outward expressions. Take the example of Emily, who has always been the strong one among her friends and family. She prides herself on being level-headed and unflappable during crisis moments, often being sought for advice during turbulent times. However, this facade masks her genuine emotions. When faced with personal challenges, Emily resorts to dismissing her feelings, believing that expressing vulnerability would undermine her perceived strength. This self-perpetuated cycle ultimately leads to emotional burnout, where Emily feels increasingly disconnected from her experience. Rather than embracing her emotional responses as valid parts of her human experience, she finds herself trapped in a relentless pursuit of a stoicism that alienates her from both herself and those she loves. In professional settings, similar patterns can emerge. Consider Tyler, a dedicated employee who rarely shares his frustrations about the demands of his job. Although he experiences stress and overwhelm, he believes that expressing those emotions would jeopardize his standing with his superiors. Instead, he internalizes these feelings and unknowingly ignites a smoothie of anxiety, leading to decreased productivity and increased burnout. Tyler's story is emblematic of individuals conditioned to see emotions as hindrances, stifling their capacity for creativity and collaboration. By viewing emotions as liabilities rather than allies, we curtail our potential for growth and engagement. A significant finding in psychological research emphasizes the importance of emotional awareness for mental well-being. Studies show that individuals who actively engage with their emotional experiences are better equipped to navigate life's challenges. This emotional intelligence allows for a more profound understanding of ourselves and others, fostering resilience as we learn to approach emotions as valuable signals rather than burdens. In summary, the first step in mastering emotional flow is recognizing and reframing our perception of emotions from adversarial forces to empowering allies. By understanding the roots of our emotional resistance, we begin to uncover how embracing our feelings can illuminate paths toward authenticity and strength. Throughout this lesson, as you contemplate your relationship with emotions, consider moments when you felt compelled to suppress your feelings. Acknowledge how these moments shaped your interactions and well-being. This journey into the depths of emotional acceptance is both enlightening and liberating, preparing you for the empowering discussions that lie ahead. The next lesson will delve into the art of pausing and how cultivating mindfulness can foster a measured response to our emotional landscape, allowing us to engage more thoughtfully in our lives. To recognize and shift away from the habitual suppression of emotions, it's crucial to cultivate awareness of when these tendencies arise in your daily life. Start by developing a practice of emotional check-ins throughout your day. Set specific times, perhaps in the morning and at night, to assess your emotional state. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Are there emotions I'm inclined to overlook or dismiss? By creating space for these reflections, you open a dialogue with your emotional self, fostering an environment where feelings are acknowledged rather than shunned. Mindset shifts are essential in this journey. Embrace the belief that emotions are not adversaries, but essential aspects of your identity that deserve attention. Transform the narrative that characterizes emotions as burdens. Instead, recognize them as messengers that provide valuable insights into your needs, desires, and boundaries. For instance, anger might indicate an unmet need for respect, while sadness may highlight a desire for connection. When you recalibrate your understanding of emotions in this way, you can start to appreciate their role as pivotal players in your personal narrative. Engaging in actionable exercises can significantly enhance your emotional fluency. One effective technique involves journaling about your emotional experiences. Whenever you feel a strong emotion surface, take a few moments to record your thoughts and feelings associated with that experience. This practice not only helps clarify and articulate your emotions, but also establishes a record that reveals patterns in your emotional responses over time. For example, you may discover that feelings of anxiety often coincide with high-pressure work scenarios, prompting deeper examination regarding your expectations and coping mechanisms. To illustrate the power of these strategies, let's consider the case of Lisa, who historically recoiled from expressing any negative emotions. After recognizing this pattern, she committed to journaling daily. Over time, she learned to articulate her frustrations and fears, reframing them as valuable insights rather than flaws. As Lisa documented her emotional journey, she noticed significant changes in her interactions. She became more engaged and authentic with her friends, reconnecting with parts of herself that had long been ignored. This personal narrative illustrates the profound impact that acknowledging and embracing emotions can have on relationships and self-identity. Psychological research further underlines the importance of emotional engagement. Studies reveal that individuals who allow themselves to experience their feelings are less susceptible to stress and more capable of adapting to challenges. By practicing emotional acceptance, you cultivate resilience that supports not only your mental health, but also enhances your interpersonal relationships. As we bring this lesson to a close, remember that mastering emotional flow requires ongoing attention and practice. The path to emotional empowerment is not an instantaneous transformation, but rather a gradual unfolding of self-discovery and acceptance. In the next lesson, we will explore the profound technique of pausing, learning how to embrace stillness as a means to cultivate a measured response to emotional stimuli. This skill will enable you to take deliberate actions rather than impulsive reactions, nurturing a greater sense of peace and control in your life. Before you move on, take a moment to reflect on your emotional encounters today. Consider sharing your insights and experiences in the comments or engaging with this content by giving it a like. Your journey is unique, but by contributing your voice, you enrich the collective experience of those seeking resilience. Lesson 3. The power of pause. Respond, don't react. In the frenzied pace of modern life, the ability to pause before reacting can feel like an elusive power. Yet, it is precisely in that moment of stillness that we find the opportunity to cultivate our emotional resilience. Most often, our fears or desires compel us to respond impulsively to external stressors, leading to regretful outcomes that further entrap us in cycles of seeking validation. Understanding and harnessing the power of pause can be a game changer, inviting a profound transformation in how we engage with our emotions and the world around us. Psychologically, the drive to react originates from an ingrained survival mechanism. Our brains, wired to respond to perceived threats, often react quickly to emotional stimuli, thereby overshadowing rational thought. This immediate reaction can be traced back to evolutionary processes. Our ancestors had to make quick decisions to survive. However, in today's complex emotional environments, this instinctual response can lead to miscommunication, misunderstandings, and a persistent reliance on validation from others to heal the emotional wounds we create. Consider the example of Mark, a professional who experiences frequent turmoil due to workplace stress. When faced with a difficult feedback session, he instinctively reacts with defensive comments, solidifying a reputation of feeling attacked rather than engaging constructively. Each reaction leads to escalated tensions with his colleagues, reinforcing his narrative of being unappreciated and misunderstood. Rather than seeking healthy dialogue to address concerns, Mark's knee-jerk responses trap him in a cycle of conflict and emotional dissatisfaction, creating a backdrop where he constantly seeks validation from peers to feel accepted. Simultaneously, the experience of Julia, a parent, showcases how emotional reactivity can impair her relationships at home. After an exhausting day, Julia returns to find her child engaged in behavior that she perceives as disrespectful. In the moment, she allows frustration to take the wheel, reacting sharply and raising her voice. This immediate reaction alienates her child, leading to a confrontation and emotional fallout that lingers long after the initial incident. Both Mark and Julia illustrate common scenarios where impulsive reactions create unnecessary hardship and reinforce their dependency on external validation. These patterns of reactivity not only disrupt relationships but also diminish our inner strength and self-worth. Psychological research underscores the benefits of the power of pause, highlighting how intentional moments of stillness can transform reactions into thoughtful responses. When we learn to breathe and reflect instead of leap, we create space for clarity, allowing us to engage with our emotions in a constructive manner. This lesson encourages readers to establish a discipline of taking deliberate pauses to cultivate emotional clarity. By creating a brief interlude before responding to stimuli, we can break the cycle of instinctual reactivity and instead engage mindfully with our emotions. Recognizing the importance of this pause, whether it's a deep breath, a few minutes of reflection, or stepping away from a challenging situation, enables us to choose responses aligned with our values rather than reacting out of fear or frustration. As you continue to explore the power of pause, consider how mastering this skill can liberate you from the burdens of validation-seeking behavior. In the upcoming sections, we will delve deeper into practical strategies to create these pauses in your everyday life, equipping you to transform your emotional engagement into constructive dialogues rather than reactive exchanges. Embrace the journey ahead, and as you reflect on this lesson, remember that every pause offers you the power to reshape your narrative. Take a moment to consider times when a pause could have altered your reactions and share your thoughts with us. Your insight may resonate with others on similar journeys. To effectively cultivate the power of pause, one must first develop keen awareness of moments when impulsive reactions arise. Begin by observing patterns in your daily interactions, noting situations that trigger your immediate responses. Keeping a reaction journal can facilitate this practice. Each time you respond without pausing, document the scenario, your reaction, and any subsequent feelings that arise. Over time, this journal becomes a valuable map, revealing triggers and habitual patterns that compel your reactivity. This heightened self-awareness serves as your initial strategy, laying the groundwork for change. Mindset shifts are essential to reshape your relationship with emotional responses. Embrace the belief that pausing is not a sign of weakness, but a strength that fosters emotional clarity and wisdom. Instead of perceiving pause as a delay that undermines assertion, view it as a moment of empowerment where you reclaim your agency. Research in psychology suggests that individuals who practice mindfulness and conscious decision-making experience lower stress levels and improved emotional regulation, reinforcing the idea that a simple pause can lead to healthier outcomes. Actionable exercises are crucial in reinforcing the habit of pausing. One effective technique is to implement the 5-second rule when faced with a challenging emotional situation. In the heat of the moment, consciously count down from 5 before responding. This countdown acts as an intentional break, allowing you to breathe, collect your thoughts, and assess how you truly want to engage. Consider the impact of this exercise on both your responses and the dynamics of your interactions. For example, when faced with a comment that triggers defensive feelings in you, use this 5-second window to breathe deeply and decide whether to engage assertively or to seek clarification instead. Real-life case studies can further illustrate the transformative power of this practice. Take the journey of Tom, a manager who found himself responding with irritation during team meetings whenever a colleague presented differing opinions. This led to strained relationships within his team and a lack of open communication. After recognizing this pattern through self-reflection, Tom adopted the 5-second rule during discussions. With time, he cultivated an environment of collaboration and understanding, learning to pause, listen, and respond thoughtfully to diverse perspectives. Tom's transformation not only improved team morale, but also fostered a culture of respect and open dialogue, a testament to the impact of mastering the pause. Psychological research supports the invaluable role that intentional pauses play in emotional regulation. Studies show that individuals who incorporate mindfulness practices experience reduced reactivity and increased emotional resilience. By using the power of pause, you create opportunities for deeper connections with others, grounding your responses in understanding rather than fear. As we conclude this lesson, remember that the ability to pause is a vital tool in your emotional arsenal. Strengthening this skill will lead you to deeper self-awareness and more effective communication. In the next lesson, we will explore overcoming emotional triggers to cultivate a sense of groundedness amidst chaos, equipping you with practical strategies to maintain your equilibrium. As you reflect on today's insights, consider sharing how the power of pause has influenced your experiences. Your contributions can inspire others on their journeys toward emotional mastery, fostering a community of mutual support and growth. Lesson 4: Overcoming Triggers. Stay grounded in chaos. Life is replete with moments that can throw us into emotional turmoil, triggering our fight-or-flight responses in ways that feel uncontrollable. In this chaotic world, understanding how to navigate these triggers is crucial for fostering resilience and emotional stability. The hidden truth lies in recognizing that our triggers often stem from our past experiences and the unresolved emotions attached to them, keeping us locked in cycles of seeking outside validation. By embracing a grounded approach, we can reclaim our emotional power and foster a deeper sense of peace. Psychologically, our triggers often originate from past traumas, disappointments, or even patterns of criticism that we have internalized over the years. Much of our reaction comes from an underlying fear, a fear of rejection, unworthiness, or loss of control, that prompts us to respond defensively. This instinctive reaction can cause us to seek validation externally as we attempt to mitigate our discomfort and regain a sense of equilibrium. However, relying on others to validate our feelings only perpetuates our vulnerability, keeping us tethered to the chaos of our emotional triggers. Take Sarah, for instance, who frequently finds herself feeling overwhelmed in social situations. An offhand comment about her work ethic from a colleague sends her spiraling into self-doubt, triggering feelings of inadequacy that she thought she had overcome. In that moment, Sarah feels compelled to seek reassurance from her friends, flooding them with messages about her capabilities, hoping they will affirm her worth. Yet this external validation only serves as a temporary fix, leaving her emotionally drained and frustrated. Sarah's experience highlights how easily we can become trapped by our triggers, responses rooted in fear rather than clarity. Similarly, consider Daniel, who often feels triggered by criticism at work. When his manager offers constructive feedback, Daniel interprets it as a personal attack, igniting feelings of anger and shame. Instead of engaging mindfully with the feedback, he responds defensively, missing an opportunity to grow and learn. His compulsion to react negatively fuels a cycle where he seeks continuous affirmation from peers, working to prove himself rather than focusing on improving his skills. Daniel's story exemplifies a common struggle, where unresolved emotional triggers propel us into reactive patterns, craving validation that ultimately fails to nourish our self-worth. To navigate these challenging emotional waters, acknowledging your triggers is the first step toward reclaiming your inner stability. Begin by identifying specific situations that tend to elicit strong emotional reactions. Maintain a journal to document these occurrences. What triggered the response, the emotions experienced, and the aftermath of your actions. Over time, this practice will illuminate recurring themes and shed light on the fears that underpin your reactions. Additionally, consider reframing how you perceive your emotional triggers. By recognizing them as opportunities for growth rather than threats to your stability, you can begin shifting your mindset. Triggers can serve as mirrors, reflecting areas of your life that require attention and healing. Embracing this perspective allows you to confront the underlying issues head-on, facilitating emotional growth instead of perpetuating cycles of reliance on external validation. As we explore overcoming triggers throughout this lesson, remember that gaining mastery over your emotional landscape is an ongoing journey. In the following sections, we will delve deeper into practical strategies that will empower you to respond to triggers with grace, fostering resilience and self-acceptance. Reflect on your own experiences with triggers, and consider sharing your insights as we journey together toward a greater understanding of emotional stability. Your journey has the potential to resonate with others, creating a sense of shared experience and solidarity in our quest for inner peace. To effectively navigate emotional triggers, the first step involves recognizing the specific behaviors that arise when you encounter these situations. Begin by developing heightened self-awareness, tuning in to your emotional responses as they occur. When you sense a trigger, perhaps a rising heart rate, shallow breathing, or feelings of tension, pause to identify what exactly provoked that reaction. Implementing mindfulness practices can be instrumental here. Spend a few moments each day focusing on your breath, noticing how your body responds to various thoughts and emotions without judgment. This practice will enable you to spot your triggers in real time and hold space before reacting, effectively breaking the chain of immediate response. A crucial mindset shift is to view triggers not as hindrances, but as valuable signposts along your path to self-discovery. This perspective encourages you to embrace discomfort as an invitation to explore deeper issues within yourself. When faced with a trigger, remind yourself that your emotional response offers insight into your history and unhealed wounds. For instance, instead of labeling a particular scenario as bad, view it as an opportunity to learn about what unresolved emotions may be surfacing. This reframing cultivates resilience and fosters a sense of empowerment as you begin to explore the underlying layers of your emotional landscape. To facilitate this process, engage in actionable exercises that challenge your old patterns. One effective method is to create a trigger response plan. After identifying specific triggers, outline a thoughtful response for each situation. For example, if your colleague's feedback often triggers feelings of inadequacy, plan to respond by taking a deep breath and asking clarifying questions, rather than defensively pushing back. Practicing these responses in advance will make them more accessible when faced with the actual trigger, ensuring a more grounded engagement. Consider the case of Jane, who realized that her intense reaction to her daughter's occasional non-compliance stemmed from her own childhood experiences where she felt powerless. By recognizing this trigger, Jane journaled her feelings, reflecting on her childhood and how it shaped her responses. She then developed a strategy. When her daughter challenged boundaries, Jane would take a moment to breathe and remind herself that her daughter's behavior was not a personal affront, but a normal part of child development. This shift allowed her to engage with her daughter in a more constructive manner, fostering open communication and understanding. Research in psychology supports the benefits of addressing emotional triggers with awareness and intention. Studies show that individuals who actively engage with their emotional responses and apply strategies to manage them can significantly reduce stress levels and improve overall well-being. By recognizing triggers and responding thoughtfully, you can shift the narrative from one of emotional chaos to one of stability and personal growth. As we conclude this lesson, remember that mastering your responses to emotional triggers is an ongoing journey that requires patience, self-compassion, and practice. In the next lesson, we will explore the importance of letting go of the past and how this process can pave the way for a more profound sense of presence and self-acceptance. Take some time to reflect on the triggers you've identified in your life and how they impact your emotional peace. Your insights are valuable, and sharing them can encourage others who may be navigating similar challenges. Consider commenting on your experiences or providing feedback to help enrich this community as we continue our journey toward emotional resilience. Lesson 5. Let go of the past. Embrace the present. In the tangled web of our lives, the past often serves as an anchor that keeps us from soaring into the present moment. The struggle to let go can feel insurmountable, particularly when we find ourselves tethered by the weight of memories, regrets, and unresolved emotions. Yet, unlocking the power of the present is crucial for personal growth and emotional resilience. The hidden truth is that clinging to past experiences not only consumes our energy, but perpetuates a cycle of seeking validation that ultimately distracts us from the richness of now. Psychologically, the need to seek validation is often rooted in unhealed wounds from the past. When we experience negative events, whether through relationships, failures, or trauma, we can unwittingly internalize feelings of unworthiness. These unresolved feelings propel us to seek external affirmation, influencing our decision-making and emotional responses. Instead of liberating ourselves from past burdens, we entrap ourselves in patterns that confirm our fears, creating a defensive mechanism where we constantly look to others for approval, thus stifling our ability to engage deeply with the present. Consider Jason, a young professional haunted by a past filled with critical feedback from his parents. Despite his success in the workplace, Jason grapples with overwhelming self-doubt that rears its head in moments of perceived failure. He seeks validation from colleagues, strategically attempting to garner praise to mask his insecurities. However, this pursuit leaves him feeling unfulfilled, perpetually anxious, and disconnected from his true capabilities. Every time he brings up past failures in conversations, he reinforces a narrative that inhibits his ability to embrace new opportunities. Jason's story is emblematic of the vicious cycle many fall into, struggling to break free from the shadows of the past while desperately seeking recognition to heal old wounds. A similar scenario can unfold in relationships, as illustrated by Emma, who finds it challenging to open up to her partner due to a previous betrayal. Despite being in a loving relationship, she clings to the memories of her past heartbreak, projecting those fears onto her current partner. Emma's distrust leads her to misinterpret innocent gestures as signals of insincerity. Her continuous worry pushes her partner away, entrenching her in a cycle of seeking reassurance and validation that only serves to reinforce her insecurities. In both Jason and Emma's experiences, the inability to let go of the past fosters an emotional landscape dominated by anxiety and mistrust, stifling personal connection. The process of letting go begins with acknowledging the emotional weight that past experiences carry in our lives. It requires confronting the fear associated with release. The fear that without the past, we lose a part of ourselves. This fear stems from a mistaken belief that our worth is established through our history, rather than through the present moment. Consider adopting reflective practices, such as journaling, to articulate your feelings about past experiences, recognizing them for what they are, chapters in your story that do not define your entirety. By writing down and examining these memories, you create space to process them without allowing them to dictate your current self-worth. As we delve deeper into the journey of letting go, it is essential to recognize that true empowerment lies in embracing the present. It is in this moment that we cultivate authenticity, engage with ourselves fully, and learn to appreciate life's possibilities. In the upcoming sections, we will explore actionable techniques to facilitate the release of past burdens and methods to establish a life rooted in the present. As you contemplate your journey of letting go, consider how freeing it could be to unshackle yourself from the past. Sharing your thoughts and experiences can serve as a cornerstone for others on a similar path, enriching our collective understanding and commitment to emotional resilience. To break free from the shackles of the past, the first strategy involves recognizing the specific behaviors that create emotional roadblocks. Start by paying close attention to the triggers that evoke feelings of inadequacy or the urge to seek validation. Use mindfulness techniques as a tool to become more aware of your thoughts and feelings when confronted by these triggers. Set aside time each day to reflect on situations where you felt the need to cling to past experiences, whether through feelings of regret or anxiety. Document these instances in a journal, detailing what led to those feelings and your emotional responses. By creating this record, you can begin to identify patterns and connections that reveal how your past is influencing your present actions. Shifting your mindset is critical for fostering resilience and self-acceptance in the face of past challenges. One powerful perspective is to view the past not as a confinement, but as a series of lessons that contribute to your growth. Understand that while experiences may not change, your interpretation of them can. Reframe your internal dialogue. Remind yourself that your worth is not determined by what has happened, but rather by who you are choosing to be in this moment. This mindset shift empowers you to step into the present with acceptance and purpose, reducing the compulsion to seek validation from others. Engaging in actionable exercises can further facilitate this process. One effective tool is the practice of gratitude. Each day, write down 3 things you appreciate about your life at that moment. Whether they are attributes about yourself, supportive relationships, or simple pleasures. This practice cultivates a focus on the present, gradually diminishing the grip of past experiences on your emotional landscape. For instance, if you find yourself reminiscing about a past failure, counter that thought by recalling a recent success or a genuine compliment from someone in your life. In this way, you train your mind to acknowledge the present's richness rather than fixating on what has transpired. Real-life examples can illuminate the power of letting go. Consider the journey of Mark, who struggled with feelings of inadequacy due to a failed business venture years prior. He carried the shame of this failure into every professional meeting, anxious that colleagues would perceive him as a failure. Through reflective journaling, Mark delineated the lessons learned from that experience instead of viewing it as a defining moment. By practicing gratitude, he began to appreciate the skills he developed and how they contributed to his current work. This shift not only boosted his confidence, but also helped him engage more positively with colleagues, who began to recognize his potential rather than his past setbacks. Psychological research supports the importance of letting go of the past for emotional well-being. Studies suggest that individuals who actively work to release past grievances experience heightened levels of self-esteem and lower levels of depression and anxiety. By relinquishing the hold of the past, you create room for personal growth and healthier relations with yourself and others. As we conclude this lesson, remember that the process of letting go is both liberating and essential for personal evolution. In the upcoming lesson, we will explore reframing challenges, discovering how to view obstacles as opportunities for growth rather than setbacks. As you reflect on your journey of release, consider sharing your experiences and insights with others. Your words may empower someone else to take the next step towards emotional freedom. Engage with this community by liking this content, subscribing for future lessons, or commenting on how you plan to embrace the present. Your contributions can inspire a collective awakening as we navigate the complexities of emotional resilience together. Lesson 6. Reframing challenges. See growth, not obstacles. In every life, challenges are a certainty, but how we perceive and respond to those challenges can dramatically alter their impact on our emotional well-being. Viewing obstacles as impediments can imprison us in feelings of helplessness, while embracing them as opportunities for growth unlocks the door to personal development and resilience. The hidden truth is that the very challenges we dread may harbor the seeds of our greatest strengths, offering invaluable lessons that can propel us forward if we allow ourselves to shift our perspective. The psychological roots of seeking validation amidst challenges often stem from a fear of inadequacy. When faced with difficulties, the tendency to gaze outward for approval and reassurance becomes pronounced. This drive for external validation is rooted in a desire to confirm our worth, particularly when we're navigating uncharted territory or confronting our limitations. Challenges can ignite deep-seated anxieties about failure, making it easy to forget our innate capabilities and resilience. Unfortunately, this behavior can cascade into a cycle where every setback leads us to seek greater external affirmation, weakening our self-trust and confidence in the process. Take, for example, the experience of Laura, a talented writer who faced a crippling block while grappling with her first novel. When she encountered critique or rejection, her reaction was to withdraw, desperately seeking validation from colleagues and friends to soothe her crisis of confidence. Each setback amplified her self-doubt, turning what could have been an opportunity for growth into a season of despair. Instead of embracing the constructive feedback as a tool for improvement, she clung to the need for affirmation, thus inhibiting her creative process and perpetuating a belief that she wasn't capable of achieving her goals. Laura's struggle highlights a common phenomenon. We allow our challenges to define our limitations, rather than recognizing them as potential stepping stones. Consider also the case of Alex, an aspiring entrepreneur who faced numerous setbacks with his business venture. Instead of reframing these failures as essential learning moments, he continually sought reassurance from friends and family about the viability of his idea, a validation that left him feeling increasingly trapped. Each time he encountered a roadblock, rather than assessing what those challenges could teach him, he spiraled into self-doubt, constantly questioning whether he was cut out for entrepreneurship. This desperate urge to validate his worth through external opinions impeded his progress and stifled his potential for innovation. Alex's narrative is a powerful reminder of how the quest for validation can paralyze us when we encounter adversity. The key to shifting from a mindset of viewing challenges as barriers to seeing them as catalysts for growth lies in the ability to reframe our experiences. Acknowledge that every challenge presents a unique opportunity for learning and self-discovery, even when it feels insurmountable. When faced with difficulties, ask yourself, what can I learn from this situation? How might this obstacle lead to personal or professional growth? Engaging in this reflective practice not only nurtures resilience, but also empowers you to view setbacks with a sense of curiosity rather than fear. As we explore the art of reframing challenges, Remember that cultivating this mindset is a journey. In the next lesson, we will delve deeper into techniques that can help you further integrate this perspective into your life, allowing you to engage with challenges in a transformative manner. As you reflect on the obstacles you faced, consider documenting your insights and how reframing them could shift your narrative moving forward. Your experiences are valuable, and sharing them could inspire others on their journeys as well. Engage with this community by commenting on your thoughts or liking this content. Together, we can foster a culture of growth and resilience that empowers us all. To effectively reframe challenges, one must first develop the capacity to recognize moments when fear or self-doubt begins to overshadow the potential for growth. A practical strategy is to establish a reframing routine. This involves pausing when faced with a challenge and consciously assessing your emotional response. Ask yourself what instinctive thoughts arise in response to this challenge. Write these thoughts down without censoring yourself. By externalizing these emotional reactions, you break the cycle of automatic negative thinking and can begin to see patterns that need adjustment. Another key strategy is to identify the language you use, both internally and externally. It's essential to tune in to the narratives that shape your perception of challenges. For instance, when facing setbacks, you might catch yourself thinking, "I always fail," or "this will never work." Such statements are limiting beliefs that reinforce feelings of inadequacy. Make a conscious effort to replace these with empowering affirmations. For example, shift your internal dialogue to "this challenge is an opportunity for me to grow," or "setbacks are part of my learning process." These reframe statements prime your mind for a more constructive approach to obstacles. Mindset shifts are essential in this journey. Recognize that challenges are not indicators of failure, but rather natural components of growth. Embrace the concept of a growth mindset, popularized by psychologist Carol Dweck, which posits that abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and hard work. When you internalize this perspective, you begin to see challenges as vital experiences that cultivate resilience, creativity, and insight. Engaging in actionable exercises can significantly enhance your ability to reframe challenges. One effective practice is to write a challenge journal. Each time you encounter a challenge, document the situation, your initial emotional response, and the beliefs that surface. Then actively work through reframing by asking questions. What can I learn from this? How can I view this situation differently? This exercise not only helps you process emotions, but also reinforces a growth-oriented mindset by expanding your awareness of potential insights from difficult situations. Consider the real-life example of Rachel, who faced significant setbacks in her career due to a series of project failures. Initially, Rachel succumbed to the belief that she was incompetent and unworthy of her position. However, after initiating a reframing routine, she began to document her challenges in a journal. Instead of viewing her failed projects through the lens of failure, she analyzed what she learned from each situation, recognizing that every setback offered new knowledge and skills. This shift enabled Rachel to approach her work with renewed vigor and perspective. The very challenges that had once intimidated her transformed into stepping stones toward her future success. Psychological research further supports the benefits of reframing challenges. Studies have demonstrated that individuals who actively work to reinterpret setbacks experience decreased anxiety and increased overall well-being. By consciously choosing to see challenges through a lens of growth, you empower yourself to face adversity with confidence and clarity. As we conclude this lesson, remember that the ability to reframe challenges is a crucial skill in your emotional toolkit. In the next lesson, we will delve into the imperative of self-validation, exploring how learning to trust your voice enhances resilience in both personal and professional settings. Take time to reflect on how you currently view challenges and consider sharing your experiences with the community. Your insights could light the way for others navigating their journeys. Engage by commenting, liking this content, or subscribing for future lessons as we continue our exploration of emotional resilience together. Lesson 7. Self-validation. First, trust your own voice. In a world filled with external opinions and relentless noise, the path to authentic self-validation can often feel obscured. Yet, the truth is that the foundation of genuine self-worth lies in our ability to trust our own voice. When we rely on outside validation to define our value, we relinquish our power and autonomy, leaving ourselves vulnerable to the whims of others. Understanding the dynamics of self-validation is essential for fostering emotional resilience and nurturing a sense of inner peace that is impervious to external judgments. The psychological roots of seeking validation from others are deeply intertwined with our formative experiences. Our early interactions shape our perceptions of worth and acceptance. When approval from parents or peers becomes the primary measure of self-worth, we learn to gauge our value through the eyes of others. As adults, this tendency can manifest as a constant need for reassurance, leading us to seek affirmations in our professional lives or personal relationships. The craving for validation can become a relentless cycle. It compels us to compromise our true selves in pursuit of acceptance, often sacrificing our desires and beliefs along the way. Consider the experience of Emily, a talented graphic designer who consistently seeks affirmation from her clients. While her work has garnered praise and success, she finds herself paralyzed by the fear of disapproval. Each time she submits a project, she anxiously anticipates feedback, heavily depending on her clients' opinions to determine her self-worth. If she receives criticism, even if constructive, it sends her spiraling into self-doubt. This reliance on external validation stifles her creativity and inhibits her ability to embrace her unique design style, as her self-identity becomes inextricably linked to her clients' approval. Emily's story exemplifies how an excessive focus on validation can inhibit authentic self-expression and personal growth. A parallel situation arises with Michael, a high-performing employee who constantly seeks accolades from his supervisors. Each time he receives praise, it temporarily boosts his confidence, but it is fleeting. He soon finds himself anxiously waiting for the next commendation to feel worthy. When he faces constructive feedback, his initial emotional response is one of devastation, as if his entire professional identity is threatened. This cycle creates a foundational instability in Michael's self-esteem, as he feels reliant on others to dictate his self-worth. By seeking validation solely from external sources, Michael risks losing his sense of self and the ability to recognize his own achievements. The common thread in both Emily and Michael's experiences underscores a deeper truth. The quest for external validation often leads to a fragmented sense of identity. When we allow others to dictate our worth, we surrender our power. The journey towards self-validation begins with recognizing this dynamic and committing to reclaiming our narrative. It is essential to develop a personal validation practice that acknowledges your accomplishments, aspirations, and unique qualities, regardless of outside opinions. In this lesson, the first step towards self-validation is enhancing your ability to introspect. Set aside time each week to reflect on your achievements and emotions. Journaling is an effective method for this practice, allowing you to articulate your feelings and experiences without judgment. Acknowledge moments of success, no matter how small, and recognize the intrinsic value they carry. By creating a space to listen to your own voice, you begin cultivating trust in yourself, a trust that will serve as your anchor in times of uncertainty. As we explore the concept of self-validation further, remember that your perspective has profound power in shaping your self-identity. In the next lesson, we will delve deeper into how establishing boundaries can protect your energy while nurturing your self-trust. Reflect on your experiences with validation and consider sharing your insights with others, as your journey toward self-validation can offer inspiration to those navigating similar challenges. Engaging with this community through comments or shares can foster a sense of solidarity in our pursuit of authentic self-worth. To develop a strong foundation for self-validation, it's vital to recognize and confront behaviors that seek external approval as a primary source of self-worth. Start by implementing self-awareness practices to identify when you're inclined to seek validation from others. This might manifest as a sudden urgency to share your accomplishments on social media for likes and comments, or a feeling of anxiety when you receive constructive feedback. A useful strategy is to keep a validation journal where you record instances when you seek external affirmation and the emotions that accompany those moments. By bringing these patterns into your conscious awareness, you can begin to understand the triggers that prompt your validation-seeking behavior. Mindset shifts play a crucial role in this transformation. It's essential to shift your perception from viewing external validation as necessary validation to recognizing that your self-worth is inherent and not contingent upon others' opinions. A powerful perspective is that you are enough, regardless of what anyone else thinks. Remind yourself that you possess unique qualities and strengths that do not need external endorsement to be valued. This shift may require you to challenge deeply ingrained beliefs. Acknowledge the feelings that surface, but choose to respond with self-compassion instead of self-criticism, reinforcing the idea that your worth is not determined by the accolades or criticisms of others. Actionable exercises can further aid in establishing self-validation. One effective method is to create a self-affirmation ritual. Spend a few moments each day affirming your strengths and accomplishments. Stand in front of a mirror and verbally express what you appreciate about yourself. This practice can include acknowledging the efforts you've made, recognizing your resilience, or simply affirming your existence and the value it holds. Your mind is wired to respond to positive reinforcement, and this ritual can help recalibrate your internal dialogue over time. Consider the case of Lisa, who struggled with feelings of inadequacy in her job despite consistently receiving positive performance reviews. Lisa initially sought validation from her peers, needing constant reassurances regarding her contributions. After recognizing this behavior, she began to implement a self-affirmation ritual. Each morning, before her day started, she would list 3 achievements from the previous day, no matter how small, and express gratitude for her capabilities. Gradually, she noticed a significant improvement in her self-confidence. The pressure she once felt to seek out external validation diminished as she became more attuned to her intrinsic self-worth. This shift allowed her to approach her work with renewed enthusiasm and creativity. Psychological research emphasizes the benefits of self-validation for overall mental health. Studies indicate that individuals who practice self-affirmation experience reduced anxiety and increased resilience in the face of challenges. By training yourself to recognize your accomplishments and inherent value, you cultivate a mindset that fosters independence and strength, a crucial defense against the volatility of seeking validation from outside sources. As we bring this lesson to a close, remember that practicing self-validation is an empowering journey towards reclaiming your self-worth. In our next lesson, we will explore boundaries as protective shields, ensuring that your energy remains intact while you navigate your path to authenticity. Reflect on the moments you have permitted external validation to dictate your sense of self, and consider how adopting self-validation can change your narrative. Engage with this community by sharing your thoughts or by liking and commenting on this content. Your experiences can serve as powerful reminders that we are not alone in our pursuit of genuine self-worth. Lesson 8. Boundaries as shields. Protect your energy. In an age where the demands of life feel ever increasing, the ability to set and maintain boundaries is not merely beneficial. It is essential for preserving your emotional energy and well-being. Boundaries serve as protective shields, allowing you to navigate relationships and situations without sacrificing your sense of self. The insidious truth, however, is that when we fail to establish clear boundaries, we often become susceptible to the emotional weight of others, leading us to seek validation as a means of coping with overwhelm. Understanding the importance of boundaries can liberate us, empowering us to reclaim our energy and prioritizing our needs without guilt. Psychologically, the inability to set boundaries often stems from deeply rooted fears of rejection and disapproval. Many individuals are conditioned to believe that saying no equates to unkindness or betrayal. This belief often leads to an excessive need to please others, with the misguided notion that maintaining harmony requires personal sacrifice. However, the result is frequently emotional burnout, resentment, and a diminished sense of self. This is where the cycle of seeking validation intensifies. By failing to assert our needs, we look to others for affirmation, allowing their opinions and emotions to dictate our self-worth. Take, for example, the experience of Rachel, a compassionate friend and colleague who finds it difficult to decline requests for help. Her desire to be seen as helpful and dependable drives her to overcommit herself at work and in her personal life. Rather than honoring her own limits, Rachel often agrees to tasks that overwhelm her, only to later feel frustrated and taken for granted. This continual disregard for her boundaries not only drains her energy, but also fosters a deep-seated need for validation from peers and friends as she seeks acknowledgement for her efforts. Rachel's story exemplifies how neglecting personal boundaries can lead to a cycle where one's self-worth hinges on the approval of others. Similarly, consider Jake, a manager who, in his eagerness to be liked by his team, finds himself constantly bending to their demands and preferences, often at the expense of his own values and priorities. Despite his exceptional leadership skills, he struggles with feelings of inadequacy when he has to assert his authority. Jake's unwillingness to set clear boundaries results in a toxic work environment where he feels depleted, frustrated, and unappreciated. This situation highlights how the absence of boundaries can diminish our capacity to lead authentically and compassionately, leaving us vulnerable to the emotional chaos of others. Recognizing the necessity of boundaries means empowering yourself to prioritize your own needs alongside those of others. It begins with an honest assessment of your limits and the emotional triggers that lead you to compromise them. Take time to reflect on scenarios where you felt overextended or taken advantage of. In these moments, ask yourself what boundary was crossed and how it affected your sense of self. Developing an awareness of these patterns will help you understand when to assert boundaries, thus preserving your emotional energy. The journey to create and uphold boundaries is not always easy, especially if you are accustomed to seeking validation from others. It may require a mindset shift, embracing the belief that setting boundaries is not an act of selfishness, but rather a demonstration of self-respect and self-care. Remember that prioritizing your needs is key to maintaining healthy relationships, which ultimately fosters a supportive environment where everyone can thrive. As we move forward in this lesson, keep in mind that establishing boundaries is a vital skill for protecting your mental and emotional health. In our next discussion, we will delve into the practice of mindful detachment, learning how to navigate relationships with less emotional burden. Reflect on your relationships and consider how setting boundaries could improve your energy and well-being. Your experiences can provide valuable insights, so we invite you to share your thoughts or engage with this community by commenting and liking this content. Together, we can learn to protect our energy while cultivating healthier connections. To effectively cultivate boundaries that protect your emotional energy, the first step is to recognize when you're stepping into a zone of discomfort or emotional overwhelm. Start by educating yourself on the signs that indicate a boundary violation. This might include feelings of resentment, exhaustion, or notice that you are frequently distracted by others' needs at the expense of your well-being. Keeping a journal can be instrumental in tracking these instances. Each time you feel overextended or disheartened, record the situation, what led to those feelings, and any adjustments to your boundaries that could prevent reoccurrence. This reflective practice not only increases your self-awareness, but also allows you to pinpoint patterns in your interactions that warrant change. Shifting your mindset is equally crucial. Many people associate boundaries with conflict or unkindness, failing to realize that they serve as essential tools for maintaining healthy relationships. Begin to view boundaries not as walls that separate you from others, but as filters that help you manage emotional interactions without compromising your values. Embrace the idea that boundaries are acts of self-love that enable you to engage fully with the people and responsibilities you choose to prioritize. Remind yourself that enforcing boundaries does not diminish your compassion. Rather, it enhances your ability to contribute positively to others' lives without depleting your own resources. To further support this mindset shift, engage in actionable exercises that empower you to practice articulating your boundaries. One effective approach is to role-play scenarios where you may need to assert yourself. This could involve enlisting a trusted friend to simulate conversations in which you express your needs or refuse requests that might compromise your boundaries. Practicing these dialogues in a safe environment reduces anxiety around asserting your boundaries in real-life situations, making it easier to navigate potential conflicts. Consider the journey of Nathan, who struggled with saying no to social obligations, feeling obligated to attend events even when he was fatigued. After identifying this pattern through journaling, he worked on crafting polite but firm responses to decline invitations. During a rehearsal with a friend, Nathan practiced saying, "I appreciate the invite, but I need to rest this weekend." By internalizing these phrases, he gradually became more comfortable asserting his limits. The result was not only an increase in his energy levels, but also richer interactions with friends when he did attend social gatherings. Nathan's experience highlights how boundary setting fosters authenticity and personal well-being. Psychological research emphasizes the importance of healthy boundaries for mental health. Studies indicate that individuals with established personal boundaries are generally more capable of managing stress and exhibit higher overall life satisfaction. Moreover, setting clear boundaries fosters healthier relationships by creating mutual respect, which can lead to deeper connections built on understanding rather than obligation. As we wrap up this lesson, remember that establishing boundaries is an essential and empowering practice that keeps your emotional energy intact. In the next lesson, we will explore the concept of mindful detachment, learning how to engage with relationships in a way that protects your emotional space without losing connection. Reflect on your current boundaries and consider how refining them could transform your interactions. This journey is unique for everyone, and your insights can greatly benefit others, so feel free to share your experiences or suggestions. Engage with this community by commenting on your thoughts, liking this content, and subscribing for our next discussion, where we will continue to foster emotional well-being and resilience together. Lesson 9. Mindful Detachment. Release what drains you. In the intricate tapestry of human connection, the practice of mindful detachment stands as a powerful and often overlooked tool for emotional resilience. By learning to release emotional baggage, whether it be toxic relationships, unrelenting expectations, or self-imposed limitations, we can reclaim our energy and mental well-being. The underlying truth, however, is that detaching doesn't mean becoming cold or indifferent. Rather, it invites us to engage with our emotions and relationships in a more balanced manner, freeing us from the clutches of validation-seeking behavior. The psychological roots of our struggle with detachment are often intertwined with attachment styles formed in childhood. Many of us harbor a deep-seated fear of abandonment or rejection, leading us to cling tightly to relationships and situations, even when they drain our emotional reserves. The quest for external validation can exacerbate this fear, leaving us feeling trapped in dynamics that no longer serve us. When we become overly invested in what others think or feel, we sacrifice our autonomy, leading to chronic stress and a diminished sense of self-worth. Consider the case of Mia, who has always sought approval from her friends. With every decision she makes, she feels compelled to consult her close circle, constantly seeking their validation for the choices in her life. This dependency leads her to compromise her own desires, often choosing what her friends want over what she truly desires. Each time she suppresses her own opinions to maintain harmony, she feels increasingly drained and resentful. Mia's struggles reflect a common scenario where attachment to others' opinions restricts personal growth and emotional freedom. A similar situation is evident with Alex, a dedicated employee who finds it difficult to detach from his work culture. Despite receiving numerous accolades, he is genuinely unable to celebrate his successes without first getting approval from his team. The pressure to meet their expectations eats away at him, leaving him feeling perpetually anxious. His inability to take pride in his achievements results in a downward spiral of self-esteem, as he remains locked in a cycle of seeking validation and recognition. Both Mia and Alex exemplify the struggle against emotional attachment that leaves them feeling drained and trapped. To cultivate mindful detachment, the first strategy involves recognizing the emotional drains in your life, essentially pinpointing what burdens you. This requires an honest assessment of your relationships, obligations, and thought patterns. Take time to reflect on aspects of your life that leave you feeling depleted, anxious, or resentful. Writing these reflections down can be an illuminating practice, allowing you to visualize the connections and patterns that lead to emotional fatigue. Moreover, mindset shifts are essential in creating a healthier perspective on detachment. Understand that letting go is not synonymous with abandonment or neglect, but is an empowering act of self-care. Remind yourself that your emotional well-being must take precedence. Nurturing your mental health allows you to support others authentically without losing yourself in the process. Embrace the notion that you can care for others while maintaining healthy boundaries, fostering deeper connections. As we explore the art of mindful detachment, remember that the journey requires patience and practice. Start with small acts of letting go. It might be as simple as saying no to an obligation that doesn't serve you, or reducing time spent with individuals who drain your energy. Gradually, these small steps can transform into more significant shifts in how you interact and engage with the world around you. In our next lesson, we will delve into finding inner stillness, nurturing the ability to cultivate peace amidst chaos. Consider your current emotional investments and how mindful detachment could benefit your life. Your insights from navigating these experiences are valuable. Reflect on them and consider sharing them. Engaging with this community by commenting or liking this content can help foster a supportive atmosphere as we collectively explore the journey toward emotional well-being. To effectively practice mindful detachment, begin by developing self-awareness regarding behaviors that drain your emotional energy. The first strategy involves recognizing moments when your emotional investment in people or situations becomes excessive. Keep a diary or journal to document instances when you feel overwhelmed by the demands of others or by your own expectations. Write about how these interactions impact your emotions, energy levels, and overall well-being. Over time, you will gain clarity on which relationships or obligations cause stress and deplete your resources. Next, consider implementing a detachment inventory. This involves listing your current relationships, commitments, and activities, then assessing which positively to your life and which ones drain your energy. Once you have identified the negative influences, categorize them into two groups: those that require immediate action, such as distancing yourself, and those that can be managed through setting firmer boundaries. This process can facilitate a clearer understanding of how to approach your relationship dynamics and emotional investments. Mindset shifts are crucial in reinforcing the practice of mindful detachment. Start viewing detachment not as an act of selfishness, but as an essential skill for maintaining emotional health. Understand that by prioritizing your well-being, you are better equipped to handle relationships compassionately and effectively. Remind yourself that it is entirely appropriate to take time for self-care and to give yourself permission to disconnect from toxic dynamics. Internalize the belief that your energy is precious and that using it wisely ultimately promotes healthier interactions. To develop these necessary skills, engage in actionable exercises designed to encourage mindful detachment. One effective strategy involves practicing mindfulness meditation focused on letting go. Set aside a few minutes each day to sit quietly, concentrating on your breath. As you inhale and exhale, visualize releasing emotional burdens and draining relationships with each breath out. This practice allows you to cultivate a state of calm and facilitates a greater sense of control over your emotional attachments. Gradually, you will find it easier to detach emotionally from those things that no longer serve you. Consider the experience of Sam, who struggled with feelings of obligation to attend social events where he felt uncomfortable. After reflecting on his feelings through journaling, he identified that these social obligations drained his energy. He began practicing mindfulness meditation, focusing on releasing the burden of guilt associated with declining invitations. Gradually, Sam learned to prioritize events that brought him joy and fulfillment while respectfully declining those that did not. This shift not only enhanced his well-being, but also cultivated stronger connections with friends and family who enriched his life. Psychological research underscores the benefits of mindful detachment. Studies reveal that individuals who practice emotional regulation and set appropriate boundaries experience lower levels of stress, anxiety, and depression. By letting go of toxic attachments and learning to shield your energy, you create a healthier emotional landscape that fosters an environment conducive to personal growth and resilience. As we conclude this lesson, remember that cultivating mindful detachment is a vital skill for emotional self-defense. It is a continuous process that requires patience, self-reflection, and practice. In the next lesson, we will explore how to cultivate inner stillness to help you find peace amidst life's chaos. Take some time to reflect on your own emotional investments and how practicing detachment could enhance your overall well-being. Your thoughts and experiences are valuable to others on similar journeys, so consider sharing them in the comments. Engaging with this community by liking this content and subscribing for future lessons can help foster a supportive atmosphere as we tackle the complexities of emotional health and resilience together. Lesson 10. Inner Stillness. Find peace amidst noise. In a world that never seems to pause, the quest for inner stillness emerges as a profound necessity for emotional well-being. The chaos of daily life, be it the incessant demands of work, the clamor of social obligations, or the overwhelming barrage of information, can leave us feeling drained and disoriented. The often hidden truth is that when we fail to cultivate inner peace, we fall into the trap of seeking external validation, relying on the opinions of others to provide a sense of worth and direction. Embracing the practice of finding stillness within ourselves allows us to transcend the noise and reclaim our emotional balance. The psychological and emotional dynamics behind our incessant need for validation are often rooted in our upbringing and societal conditioning. Many of us are taught from a young age to look outward for acceptance. When external validation becomes the primary source of self-worth, we inadvertently elevate the chaos of our environment as a key determinant of our emotional landscape. This reliance can lead to a perpetual state of unrest, where happiness hinges on the momentary accolades and affirmations received from others, rather than on a stable foundation built within. Take, for instance, the experience of Lisa, a successful executive who thrives in a high-pressure business environment. Despite her professional accomplishments, she often feels an underlying sense of anxiety and self-doubt, particularly when receiving feedback from her peers. Each time her performance is assessed, she anxiously waits for validation to reaffirm her sense of self. The noise of her achievements becomes overshadowed by her fear of criticism, driving her deeper into a cycle of seeking approval and questioning her abilities. Lisa's story embodies the struggle to maintain inner stillness amidst the chaotic demands of her role, leaving her longing for a profound sense of calm that remains elusive. Similarly, consider the case of Tom, a college student deeply invested in his social media presence. He tirelessly curates his online persona, often obsessively checking for likes and comments on his posts. Despite his vibrant social life, Tom experiences an unsettling emptiness, as the rush of validation from social media does little to foster genuine connections or a sense of fulfillment. The relentless pursuit of online approval fosters a sense of anxiety, driving him further away from enjoying the present moment. This scenario illustrates how the noise of social validation drowns out opportunities for authentic experiences and self-acceptance. In order to cultivate inner stillness, begin by recognizing your patterns of seeking validation in the midst of chaos. Start by regularly reflecting on your emotional responses during high-stress situations. A simple practice involves setting aside a few moments each day to engage in mindfulness meditation. As you sit in silence, allow your thoughts to come and go, paying attention to them without judgment. This exercise trains your mind to become less reactive to external stimuli and fosters a sense of calm that can anchor you amidst the noise. Additionally, consider adopting daily practices that prioritize self-care and self-compassion. Engage in activities that bring genuine joy and fulfillment, whether that's spending time in nature, pursuing creative hobbies, or engaging in physical activity. These moments of intentional stillness foster deeper connections with yourself and create a sanctuary from the chaos that surrounds you. As we explore the significance of inner stillness, remember that cultivating peace within is a continuous journey. The ability to tune out external noise and affirm your value is essential for building emotional resilience. In the next lesson, we will delve into the importance of unshakable confidence, empowering you with the knowledge to trust your abilities without relying on external validation. Reflect on your own experiences and consider how nurturing inner stillness could enhance your overall well-being. Your insights can serve as valuable lessons for others, so feel free to share your thoughts or engage with this community by commenting and liking this content. Together, let's embark on the path to deeper self-awareness and emotional clarity. To cultivate inner stillness effectively, it is essential to first recognize the behaviors that disrupt your peace and lead to dependency on external validation. Begin by developing a keen awareness of your thoughts and feelings when faced with stress or overwhelming situations. Keep a journal to document moments when you feel anxious or unsettled. Identify the triggers that provoke these emotions, such as busy work environments, social media interactions, or demanding relationships. This reflective exercise enables you to see patterns in your responses, paving the way for change. When you consciously observe your tendency to seek validation in these moments, you gain the opportunity to intervene and redirect your focus toward inner calm. Mindset shifts play a crucial role in fostering inner stillness. Recognize that your self-worth does not hinge on the opinions of others or the external chaos surrounding you. Begin to internalize the belief that your value is inherent and independent of external validation. When faced with pressure, remind yourself that it's perfectly acceptable to prioritize inner peace over external expectations. This acknowledgement can empower you to establish a new standard for measuring success, one centered on your emotional well-being rather than societal approval. By reframing your perspective in this manner, you create a fertile environment for cultivating stillness amidst life's uncertainties. Engaging in actionable exercises is vital for transforming your newfound awareness to practical action. One powerful method is to establish a daily practice of mindful pauses. Set aside specific times throughout the day to step back and take a few deep breaths, bringing your attention inward. During this pause, assess your current emotional state and identify any unnecessary pressures you may be experiencing. Ask yourself questions such as, "What do I truly need right now?" And "How can I support myself in this moment?" This practice not only provides an opportunity for self-check-ins, but also reinforces the habit of prioritizing your inner state over external demands. To illustrate the effectiveness of these strategies, consider the experience of Daniel, a busy professional who felt increasingly overwhelmed by his colleagues' expectations. Initially, he would seek validation from his peers, often feeling drained by the constant need for affirmation. After journaling and recognizing his reliance on external validation, he implemented mindful pauses throughout his day. With a commitment to stepping back for a few moments, he established a routine that allowed him to reconnect with his sense of purpose and direction. Over time, Daniel found that as he centered his focus on his intrinsic motives and self-acceptance, the pressures from his colleagues diminished significantly. This shift allowed him to engage in his work with renewed enthusiasm and clarity, illustrating how cultivating inner stillness can transform external interactions. Psychological research supports the benefits of mindful practices for emotional health. Studies indicate that individuals who engage in mindfulness and self-reflection report higher levels of life satisfaction and lower levels of anxiety. Nourishing your inner stillness not only enhances your emotional resilience, but also fortifies your ability to face challenges with a calm mind. As we conclude this lesson, remember that nurturing inner stillness is fundamental for maintaining balance in an often chaotic world. The journey toward self-acceptance and tranquility is continuous and requires patience and practice. In our next lesson, we will explore the concept of unshakable confidence, equipping you with the tools to trust your abilities and foster resilience without the need for external approval. Reflect on your current practices and consider how embracing inner stillness could reshape your emotional landscape. Your experiences and insights can inspire others on this journey, so feel free to comment, share your thoughts, or engage with this community. Together, we can continue to empower each other in the pursuit of emotional well-being and authentic living. Lesson 11. Unshakable confidence. Believe in your strength. In the landscape of personal development, unshakable confidence is the foundation upon which resilience and success are built. It is a profound inner conviction that empowers individuals to navigate life's challenges with grace and determination. The hidden truth is that many people mistakenly equate confidence with external validation, creating a false sense of self-worth that crumbles in the face of adversity. To foster genuine confidence, one must learn to trust their abilities and recognize their intrinsic value, free from the overwhelming weight of societal expectations. The psychological reasons for seeking validation often stem from early experiences that shape our beliefs about ourselves. From childhood, many individuals are conditioned to tie their self-worth to accolades, praise, or approval from others, which can create a fragile sense of identity. When faced with criticism or failure, this reliance on external validation leaves them vulnerable and self-doubting. The struggle to believe in one's own strengths stems from the internalized belief that only through external affirmation can they find their worth. For instance, consider the experience of Sarah, a talented musician who has always garnered praise for her performances. Despite her skill and passion, she often feels a wave of anxiety wash over her before every performance, driven by the need to impress her audience. When she receives positive feedback, her confidence temporarily soars, but when faced with criticism, she spirals into self-doubt, questioning her abilities and worth as an artist. This reliance on external feedback creates an emotional roller coaster, undermining her confidence and leading her to seek validation even in supportive environments. Sarah's story exemplifies a common trap where confidence is anchored to perceptions rather than rooted in self-acceptance. Similarly, explore the situation of James, a young professional who struggles with imposter syndrome in his job. Despite consistently receiving positive performance reviews, he frequently doubts his capabilities, feeling that he is merely faking it and waiting to be discovered as a fraud. This internal conflict compels him to seek validation from colleagues, pushing him to overwork and accept unrealistic expectations just to gain their approval. James's reliance on external validation perpetuates a cycle of anxiety and self-sabotage, creating an environment where genuine confidence cannot flourish. To shift away from a validation-seeking mentality, it is crucial to first cultivate self-awareness around your thoughts and triggers. Begin by recognizing when you feel the urge to seek approval from others. Pay attention to the emotions that arise in these moments, as well as the circumstances surrounding them. Keeping a journal can help you track these instances, allowing you to reflect on the underlying beliefs that propel these feelings. This awareness is the first step toward building an authentic sense of confidence. Next, consider developing a practice of self-affirmation. Each day, take time to acknowledge your strengths, successes, and unique qualities. Write down affirmations that resonate with you, such as, "I believe in my abilities," or "I trust my instincts." Regularly engaging in this practice reinforces your intrinsic value and fosters resilience against external pressures. By grounding your confidence in self-affirmation, you create a powerful antidote to self-doubt. As we explore the significance of unshakable confidence, remember that this journey requires patience and perseverance. Understanding that true confidence emerges from within is essential for building a strong foundation of self-belief. In the next lesson, we will delve into resilience in action, learning how to apply the confidence you cultivate in navigating life's challenges with determination. Reflect on your own experiences with confidence and consider sharing your insights, as they can inspire others on their journeys. Engage with this community by liking this content and commenting with your thoughts. Together, we can encourage each other to unlock our full potential. To effectively cultivate unshakable confidence, the first step is recognizing behaviors that perpetuate self-doubt and rely heavily on external validation. Start by observing your reactions in situations where you typically seek approval from others. Pay attention to moments when you catch yourself second-guessing your abilities or turning to others for reassurance about your decisions. Keeping a reflective journal can be a valuable technique in this process. Each time you experience a moment of self-doubt or feel compelled to seek validation, write about the situation, your feelings, and the thoughts that influenced your behavior. This practice can illuminate patterns in your thinking and help you identify circumstances that trigger reliance on others for affirmation. Mindset shifts play a crucial role in dismantling the reliance on external validation and replacing it with a foundation of self-confidence. Begin by addressing the underlying beliefs that contribute to your self-doubt. Often, these beliefs stem from past experiences or societal conditioning that equate self-worth with accomplishments and outside approval. Create affirmations that reinforce your intrinsic value, such as, "I am enough," or "My worth is not defined by external opinions." Regularly repeating these affirmations can help retrain your subconscious, gradually building a more robust sense of self-worth independent of external validation. Engage in actionable exercises designed to strengthen your sense of confidence. One effective method is to create a success log. Each evening, take a few moments to reflect on your day and jot down 3 accomplishments or positive experiences, no matter how small. These could range from completing a task at work to effectively managing a challenging conversation. This exercise not only fosters an appreciation for your abilities, but also reinforces the message that your achievements are valid, regardless of external recognition. Consider the case of Emma, who struggled with self-doubt each time she completed a project. She would often recount her accomplishments to a close colleague, craving affirmation to validate her efforts. After recognizing this pattern, Emma began documenting her successes in a success log, which allowed her to celebrate her achievements without needing constant reassurance from others. Over time, she found that this practice instilled a sense of pride and confidence in her abilities, enabling her to engage more fully in her work without relying on external input. Emma's journey illustrates how recognizing and reframing behaviors can significantly enhance self-confidence. Psychological research backs the idea that self-affirming practices can lead to increased confidence and reduced reliance on external validation. Studies have shown that individuals who maintain a habit of reflecting on personal achievements report higher levels of self-esteem and a more significant sense of agency in their lives. By training yourself to focus on your achievements and affirming your self-worth, you set the stage for genuine confidence that withstands external pressures and challenges. As we wrap up this lesson, recognize that building unshakable confidence is a continuous journey that requires commitment and practice. In the next lesson, we will focus on resilience in action and explore strategies for applying the confidence you cultivate to face life's challenges head-on. Reflect on the ways you currently seek validation and consider how embracing self-approval could transform your experiences. Your insights are vital and could inspire others on similar journeys, so feel free to share your thoughts, engage with this community by commenting, and like this content. Together, we can empower one another in the pursuit of unshakable confidence and emotional resilience. Lesson 12. Resilience in Action. Thrive through adversity. In life's journey, the ability to cultivate resilience can make the difference between succumbing to challenges and emerging stronger from them. Resilience is not merely a trait, but a skill that can be honed over time through conscious practice and self-awareness. The often unrecognized truth is that our responses to adversity shape our character and define our capacity to thrive. Understanding and embracing resilience empowers us to navigate life's trials with grace, reclaiming control over our emotions and experience, rather than allowing external forces to dictate our self-worth. The psychological roots of seeking validation during times of adversity often lie in our fear of failure or inadequacy. Faced with challenges, we may subconsciously revert to relying on external affirmation as a means of coping. This dependency can intensify the pressure we place on ourselves, making us more vulnerable to emotional setbacks. The challenge looms larger when we equate our self-worth with success, reinforcing the idea that our value is contingent upon our ability to overcome obstacles, often leading to a fear of failure that paralyzes us in moments of crisis. For instance, consider the experience of Mark, an entrepreneur whose business faced significant setbacks due to unforeseen circumstances. Initially, Mark found himself overwhelmed by self-doubt, unable to make decisions without seeking validation from his advisors. He frequently second-guessed his instincts, turning to others for assurance before proceeding with any actions. This dependency on external validation prevented him from tapping into his own inner strength and resources, ultimately hindering his ability to navigate the challenges effectively. Mark's journey illustrates how a lack of self-trust can impede resilience, trapping individuals in cycles of reliance on others during difficult times. Similarly, look at the situation of Rachel, a graduate student who experiences immense pressure during exams. Instead of trusting her study methods and abilities, she often seeks validation from her peers, anxiously comparing her preparation to theirs. When she feels unprepared, she looks to others for confirmation that she is capable, further amplifying her anxiety. Rachel's reliance on external comparisons distracts her from recognizing her own resilience and potential, leaving her ill-prepared to engage with the challenges of her academic journey. To foster resilience in action, the first step is to cultivate self-awareness regarding your emotional responses to challenges. Begin by identifying moments when you feel compelled to seek validation from others instead of trusting your instincts. Keeping a journal can be helpful in documenting these instances, allowing you to reflect on how your reliance on external sources affects your confidence and outcomes. This practice of introspection not only increases your self-awareness, but also provides insight into the underlying fears that may drive your behavior. Next, shifting your mindset is crucial in developing resilience. Understand that setbacks are not failures, but rather opportunities for growth and learning. Embrace the idea that each challenge presents a chance to strengthen your resilience. Reframe how you perceive obstacles, viewing them as valuable experiences that contribute to your personal development. This shift in perspective allows you to harness the skills you've developed and face adversity with a proactive mindset. As we explore the imperative of resilience in action, remember that navigating challenges with confidence is not innate. It is a skill that can be cultivated through practice and persistence. In the next lesson, we will delve deeper into specific strategies for maintaining resilience in various aspects of life. Take time to reflect on your own experiences with adversity and consider how resilience has helped shape your journey. Your insights can inspire others on similar paths, so feel free to share your thoughts and engage with the community by commenting or liking this content. Together, we can boldly empower one another to thrive through adversity and embrace the fullness of life's journey. To harness resilience effectively, the first step is recognizing behaviors that undermine your confidence and self-reliance during challenging times. When adversity strikes, many individuals instinctively revert to seeking validation from friends, family, or colleagues, believing that assurance will mitigate their fears. Start by observing and reflecting on your reactions during stressful situations. Keep a journal noting when you feel the urge to consult others for their opinions before making decisions or taking action. This practice can help illuminate patterns in your responses, highlighting triggers and moments of self-doubt that you may not have fully recognized. A significant mindset shift is necessary to break free from the reliance on validation. Understand that seeking external approval is not inherently wrong. However, it should not dictate your self-worth or decision-making processes. Reframe the way you view challenges, recognizing that setbacks are opportunities for growth rather than reflections of your inadequacy. Instead of asking others what they think you should do, focus on understanding your values, goals, and capabilities. Cultivating an inner dialogue that encourages self-affirmation can reinforce your ability to navigate obstacles with confidence. Engaging in actionable exercises can solidify your resilience practice. One effective exercise is to create a resilience toolkit, which consists of strategies and reminders that empower you during times of difficulty. Brainstorm and write down techniques that help you regain focus and strength when you feel overwhelmed. This could include affirmations, grounding exercises, inspirational quotes, or reminders of past achievements. Keep this toolkit accessible, whether in your journal, on your phone, or as a physical note in your environment, so that you can draw upon it in moments of need. This simple yet powerful tool serves as a resource to remind you of your inherent strengths and past successes. Consider the case of Daniel, a project manager who often found himself anxious before major presentations. Initially, he would seek feedback from colleagues, which led to increased pressure and uncertainty regarding his ideas. After reflecting on his behavior, he decided to create a resilience toolkit. He included affirmations about his skills, a list of previous successful projects, and deep breathing techniques to calm his nerves before speaking. When faced with the next presentation, instead of seeking validation, he relied on his toolkit, which allowed him to approach the situation with confidence and clarity. Daniel's experience demonstrates the transformational impact of self-reliance when facing adversity. Psychological research emphasizes the role of resilience in fostering mental well-being. Studies show that individuals with higher resilience tend to cope more effectively with stress and are better equipped to learn from failures. By practicing self-affirmation and relying on personal strengths, you not only improve your confidence, but also cultivate a growth-oriented mindset. This mindset shift allows challenges to serve as stepping stones rather than hurdles, ultimately fostering a more adaptive approach to life's difficulties. In conclusion, recognizing behaviors that undermine your confidence and implementing strategies that bolster resilience are critical for thriving through adversity. By developing self-awareness, shifting your mindset, and engaging in empowering exercises, you can cultivate the confidence needed to face challenges head-on. Embracing this journey towards resilience will not only reinforce your sense of self-worth, but will also enable you to navigate the complexities of life with strength and determination. As we conclude this journey through Solid as Stone, Develop Emotional Resilience and Inner Peace, we've explored the vital components necessary for cultivating a robust sense of self-worth and emotional resilience. From understanding the impact of seeking validation to learning the importance of boundaries, mindfulness, and inner stillness, each lesson has provided tools to empower you in your personal development. We've delved into strategies to foster unshakable confidence, embrace challenges as opportunities for growth, and establish resilience in the face of adversity. By implementing these insights and practices, you can create a solid foundation for emotional well-being and navigate life's complexities with grace and strength. Thank you for taking the time to engage with this content. Your commitment to personal growth is commendable, and I hope you feel inspired to continue this journey. If you found this video valuable, please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Your feedback not only helps us improve, but also fosters a supportive community eager to learn and grow together. We look forward to sharing more empowering content with you soon.